right. Well, welcome to our sixth. Sorry. Welcome to our seventh one of our episodes. Just welcome to a new episode of Sum Inspirational. My name is Ridwan,
My name's Coralie.
and together we are the Sum Inspirational Experience. Okay. Yes, but so today, as you can see, something looks a little bit different, and we are trying something new. At Some Inspirational, we believe in pushing boundaries, doing the uncomfortable, and just really seeing what new things we can come up with and being innovative. And so we're actually outside right now. We're at the Nitobi Gardens, and Corley, I guess like you've never been here before.
No, never.
First thoughts, like live reaction.
It's like beautiful. Like it's very serene, very peaceful. It's like a hidden gem that I wish I'd known about sooner. I'd heard about Nitobi Gardens, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it looked like. So I'm definitely going to be coming back very soon.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, and would you just like to give us an introduction, sort of who you are, what you do, why it's taking you so long to come here?
For sure. So my name's Coralie. I'm currently a second year going into third year medical student at UBC. I did my undergrad at UBC as well in biomedical engineering. And yeah, I guess I've been a bit busy with school and life. So I've definitely wanted to come here, but yeah, it's definitely now on the bucket list for the future to take it in, walk around for a few hours and just relax.
Awesome. Well, more than just a bit busy. I believe that I reached out to you earlier this year.
Hmm.
Really want to talk to Coralie because something about her, that very humble person, guys. She has this amazing story of technology, of healthcare, and how it all intersects together. And I remember reading a little bit. I think it was your capstone ends project because they
Hmm.
post those, and I was like, "Holy crap! Like, I need to talk to this person." And so Coralie is a Cansbridge scholar. She's a Cansbridge fellow.
Yeah,
She's a Westbrook scholar. She's one of the faces for Black History Month on campus. Had her everywhere, and she's pretty much a campus celebrity. And I guess first question that we have today to start us off with just this or experience is just what's been one of your highlights of being at
mm.
UBC for undergrad and I guess majoring in biomedical eng, which is
Hmm.
number one, mind blowing, and then switching from more of that technical field
Hmm.
into something like medicine.
Yeah. For sure. I think, one of the biggest highlights has definitely been like meeting new communities around me. So I guess when I was in high school, it was very different, kind of the mentality that we had going into it. You were like, I don't know, it was very, things didn't matter as much, I guess, back then as they do now. Like now I'm learning how much the value of friendship is, the value of like taking care of yourself, like all those big themes that when I was a kid, I was like, it's fine. I don't have to eat today. Like I don't have to go to the
Hey,
gym. Yeah.
yes.
I used to be like, it's fine. But now that you kind of like go through the stressors of school and you understand, like, it's such a privilege to be here at an institution like UBC and
Mhm.
get the privilege of having this education. And understanding, like, to be able to perform your best and to serve people the best, you have to be healthy. You have to make time for your family and friends. Those are just things that I didn't really get as a high schooler. So I think UBC as an experience has helped me to understand that. Like that was like a really big awakening for me. I think a lot of people think like, oh, the tech is cool or like the school is cool, but for me it was just like taking care of yourself and like understanding how privileged you are to be where you are.
Wow, that's good. I was talking to a friend recently, Fahim,
Hmm.
and one of the things he mentioned is during your university experience, you go through two awakenings. First one during third year, your second one during fifth year, like your last year when you realize like, wait, all of this is about to be over.
Yeah.
And for you, when was this like sort of realization? Was it kind of just during the process you realized a bit more and more of I need to take care of myself, or was it after everything?
Mm. For me, I think it was in second year because when I was in my second year, it was the pandemic year, like going into third year.
Mm,
And so I didn't realize how much impact that these different things like sleep, eating, family have on you. So when I was in lockdown at home during third year, like my mom would cook for me. She would cook such good food. I never went hungry with my mom around. I like slept properly. I didn't have
Mm,
to commute, so I had more time to like read, to work out, to do things that I wasn't doing before. And
mm,
like before, I thought if I like wasted time on these things, like it's not good. I have to be studying all the time. I have to be grinding all the time.
mm.
But like you need to rest and recharge. Like it's something I didn't understand till I had the opportunity to do it. And COVID was definitely like a dark time for a lot of people, but it was kind of the silver lining for me to be able to reset and understand like these things do matter. Just keeping good mental health, physical health, and good relationships.
Wow. Lots to take in. I feel like you mentioned so many good things. Um, and you touch on sleep, touch on exercise, eating well. I miss my mom's cooking. Going back home anytime, like during the holidays or break,
Hmm.
and just being at home with family, even though it's like a loud house, my sisters and everyone's very active. It's just the sense of community
Yeah.
that you get, the sense of energy that you get from just being back. And there's something recently I saw. It was on Instagram, so not sure. Should have fact checked it. I feel like that's a lot of things nowadays. Like you see something and you're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I saw this thing," and then you spread it and you're not sure if it's true. But it was this um, sort of message that this doctor saw out of 47 patients, how you knew like they were going to die.
Yeah.
Like 6 hours later, they all said like the same word, like 6 hours before. And it was like the word was like mom,
Oh, interesting.
and they said like every single patient, um, like right before 6 hours, they said that same word, and the message was sort of like we go back into this state where amygdala is searching through for safety, and that
Mm.
moment where we first came into this world, um, connected biblical cord, and just the close person to you literally is your mom. And so I thought that was just interesting. But one of the other things that you mentioned was reading.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, because I'm an avid reader, I love books, sci-fi, fantasy. What's been some of the books that have prompted you to be more introspective?
Ooh, okay. That's a good question to be more introspective. I'm a really big fan of fiction books. I feel like I don't read enough nonfiction.
Agreed.
One of my favorite books that I read, this was maybe like probably 10 years ago I read it, was Beartown by Frederick Backman. It's one of like the best books I've ever read, just from like a writing perspective and a story perspective. But it made me appreciate that a lot of the books that I'm drawn to have kind of like a message or like a social commentary. Like I also read 1985 and I didn't think I would like it, but then I really liked it. And I was starting to see the parallels, of like what's happening in the world, what's happening in the book. And
Mm.
yeah, so when a book's able to make me pause like that, but still kind of have this fictional element to it, so I don't feel like it's too
Too
real.
real, too,
Yeah.
it's still got a little distance.
Exactly, and starts to make me think and like question things and start to like do research on things.
Mm.
Those are the kinds of books I like. But I also love fantasy books. I'm reading Harry Potter right now for the first time. So,
For,
yeah.
for some reason, I'm not sure if it's like a black thing, but every person I've talked to back has read Harry Potter like very late because I
Yeah.
read it in grade 12.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember for the first time, and everyone's like, "Why have you never read Harry Potter? How do you not? What house are you in? How do you not know?"
Yeah.
And I just kept on getting those questions, which is why I eventually read it, and it was okay. But I think it's, God forbid, maybe we don't, maybe we cut this out afterwards. A little teeny tiny bit overrated. I don't know. I feel like there's some other books that I've read.
Mm-hmm.
I Number Four series,
Oh, I haven't
The
heard of
Red
that.
Rising, even the Hunger Games,
Oh,
like
love that. Yeah.
right?
It's a really good series.
Maze Runner, like those books
Yeah.
had so much oomph.
Yeah.
But I guess like Harry Potter did a very good job of world building and whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess 1985, Big Brother's always watching. Um, that's interesting because I'm thinking we can go two ways, two directions now.
Yeah.
Maybe we come back to this piece.
Yeah, for sure.
But what are your thoughts in regards to being sort of like a healthcare professional, like entering that world? Big Brother is always watching. Trust being this big thing, and
Yeah.
we're having AI now sort of be like the conversation in every
Mm.
room.
Yeah. Yeah, AI is definitely becoming a big part of medicine,
Mm.
whether people like it or not. But I think like we as healthcare practitioners and professionals have a duty to kind of be stewards of what AI looks like in care.
Mm.
And the fact that I think it's not very heavily like policed, or like there's not many policies around AI in different sectors anyways, kind of makes it a scary topic.
Mm.
But I think it can also be very exciting if used correctly, and if you invest enough time into it. So like a very simple example in medicine is just using AI to help write notes from like a patient interview that you do.
Mm.
Some people use just like have the AI on listening to the conversation with the patient's consent,
Mm.
and then it writes up an entire note. And then you, as a physician or as a healthcare practitioner, has to do the due diligence of actually like going through, making sure it's all accurate, making sure you add in whatever needs to be added. But then it cuts back on time because you're not having to do that yourself, trying to remember the things that you talked about. So yeah.
100 like so I had a summer internship
Mm-hmm.
where it was solely on health AI, and we were researching different innovative methods that were being used within healthcare because we're trying to find a fundraising claim for like our client.
Yeah.
And AI scribes were like probably the biggest ad cost benefit, etc. Because of just number one, there weren't a lot of privacy policies that it kind of tampered with.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can get away with just having it as long as the patient consents and
Yeah.
so on, and you have like the necessary data. But then things started getting a bit more tricky when you talk about LLMs and
Yeah.
diagnosing and
Mm-hmm.
triaging. And what happens if a model makes a mistake?
Yeah.
But you as a doctor, and you can't even blame them because you're overburdened with all these patients and you're trying to do your best. And so you're like, okay, well, model's telling me this. It has a 95% accuracy or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just cost efficient to listen. And
Yeah.
so I guess maybe have those discussions been happening as well?
Yeah, even as early as my degree in biomedical engineering, we took a class on ethics in the medical space and the biomedical engineering space. And we were talking about, for instance, like the triaging system. A lot of the times there can be certain biases, either racially or age related,
Mm,
in these triaging systems based on the data that they've been trained on to say, well, this person, maybe the cutoff for a specific race for a specific presentation is lower than other races. And
mm,
so they get prioritized. And like how do we prevent that from happening when like all the data that we have has been based off of like this one way of doing things, this kind of ageism or racism
mm,
in the healthcare system in and of itself. So that's like another big question, and a big area for researchers to be aware of. But I don't know if there's enough like buy-in, I guess. Like people sometimes don't really care. They're like, we want to get the systems out there, we want to get the AI out there, we don't necessarily want to make sure that it's equitable to everyone, and that
mm.
it's making sure that every patient gets the best possible care that they can. So definitely a conversation I'd love to have with more healthcare professionals, but and healthcare researchers,
Mm.
but have to get people who care about it first.
100%, right? Like once you get that initial buy-in, then all those discussions can happen. But if no one's really trying to enter the room and
Yeah.
you're the only one in the room, echo chamber, like,
Yeah.
and it's a good echo chamber because you're trying to do the right thing, but no one else is sort of being influenced in that positive way. Um, what did you want to be when you were younger?
Oh my gosh, I went through phases. The first thing I remember wanting to be was an inventor, then a paleontologist and an astronomer were like two big areas that interested me.
Yeah.
Paleontology, because I just was so fascinated about like the world before humans, and
Mm,
like what the heck was going on. Like I was so interested in fossils and just nature and animals and stuff. And then astronomy, I just loved the application of physics to something that felt so intangible.
mm.
Like the idea of black holes, I still can't really wrap my mind around string theory, like all these different things. I found them so fascinating. But I think they were just a bit too abstract for when I was in high school. I was like, I need something more concrete and I could see it. So engineering was the path I ultimately took.
Awesome. And have you seen Interstellar?
I haven't. I've listened to the soundtrack,
Wait,
but I
you have?
haven't seen it. I have to. I know. I know.
I'm twins. Have you guys seen Interstellar? Oh, thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, guys. Okay, Interstellar. I'm so optimistic and like jealous for you to experience this for the first time
Yeah. Okay.
because it's just like a mind blowing, and they actually have the depiction of a black hole. And
Okay.
so before the math came out to prove that like black holes were actually bending light,
Mm-hmm.
Interstellar, because of just the like they actually had mathematicians working on it,
Yeah.
people, physicians, and they were able to come up with this sort of like template of this is what it actually looks like. And then when they rendered
Mm-hmm.
it, the videographers, animators, they're like, wait, what's going on? The light shouldn't be behaving this way. And it was after that they did the math, and they're like,
Oh,
wait a minute, this is actually what a black hole looks like. And then
that's so interesting.
I think like NASA, or it was one of their telescopes
Mm-hmm.
that took a picture of the end something, like trying to like had a unique identifier of the, like their black hole.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, wait, if you flip it on the other side,
Yeah.
you can see like the light is bending. And so Interstellar like was actually the
Interesting.
first kind of real, and it was so crazy. Like
Yeah.
I love sci-fi that actually gets the math right, like
Yeah.
that gets the science behind the actual thing right, because then it feels like almost what you said, like tangible. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel too far removed from, wait a minute, why can't we go explore the stars, right? Like,
Yeah.
why can't we fix things in this specific way? Um, no, that's actually very inspiring. And so you switch to Eng. Uh, Recently, Artemis launched.
Yes.
You know, doctors on board that were trained, or not doctors specifically, but like trained in that way of understanding, being able to do research, intersection of healthcare, intersection of
Mm-hmm.
like space. Have you ever thought of maybe one day taking your
Mm.
talents elsewhere, you know?
Quite literally elsewhere. That would be super interesting. Like, I don't know what kind of training goes into that. I'm sure there's so much more than what we've seen on TV, but that would
Mm,
be so interesting to be able to combine that like old passion of astronomy that I had with like the new path of medicine that I'm taking.
mm,
And I know there's different specialties or like careers in medicine where you could be like a surgical flight kind of merging them together
mm,
and like merging not necessarily being an astronaut but being the physician who works with astronauts and who makes sure that they're okay to go up, and like after they've gone through the testing, what do their vitals look like
mm.
that's definitely a place where you can kind of merge the two. So it'd be interesting to see, and if God willing I get sent up there, that'd be
Hey,
super cool.
call her. She's here. She's available. Not available, not as right now,
Yeah.
but um, awesome. And I guess like to tie in to a further question, and maybe I'll give an example
Hmm.
that might help, because I'm still curious sort of where the healthcare came
Yeah.
into effect, especially going into the end, very tangible. Uh, for me as a kid, and I asked a friend this earlier today, where I said, "What makes your heart happy?"
Mm.
And in my experience, it was reading. I, as a kid, I'd read. Like I'd go to class, I'd
Yeah.
read, wake up, read, class, read, and I was telling them, I'm like, you get away with a lot when you get A's.
Yeah,
You know,
this
like
is so true. Yeah.
as long as you have good grades, teachers, especially in elementary,
Yeah.
middle school, like teachers aren't really, because there's nothing wrong. You just happen to
Yeah.
read in class, but you're also doing really well, so no one really cares. And I just remember like always constantly reading. And so when I got to high school and I started doing more like science based things and
Hmm.
reading the textbooks, and I thought like that was my world. I'm like, I should
Yeah.
be a researcher because I love reading, and I thought that maybe I'd want to be a prof in the future.
Mm.
Um, but the books I were always reading were sci-fi,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
or adventure or fantasy, like something filled with just excitement and growth. And I realized that the reason I read wasn't entirely like I love reading, but I loved more so what was within the pages.
Right.
I loved more so this world building of, wait, these people are discovering this, or they're trying out this, and all these different relationships that you have to keep track of, and
Yeah.
like you get to create a whole new world. And I think that's sort of what I craved. And now entering, getting a bit older, as I'm thinking about what I want to do in the future, I
Hmm.
sort of started thinking more of, what adventures do I want to go on, right? What job gives me that flexibility? What allows me to dream in the same way that these books made me dream?
Yeah.
And so I guess like that was sort of my aha moment of, hey, maybe I should probably try something that makes me a lot more active, that I get to go outside
Yeah.
and do, like literally. And so, what would you say for you? Have you had an aha moment of,
Mm.
this is what my calling is, this is where my heart is telling me to go?
Okay, that's a very good question. I feel like yes, and there have been like two kind of separate things that make my heart happy, and I feel
Mm,
like they've started to merge over the years, which is very nice. So I'll start with first like kind of how I got into the healthcare space. So for me, I really like tackling very complex problems. And I think the most complex problems you'll find are in like healthcare. whether it's systems based problems or like disease problems. There's
Mm.
so many things we don't know, so many things we don't understand, and so many things we can improve upon for people all over the world. So that to me was like such an attractive space, which is why I went into biomedical engineering.
Mm.
And when I was here, I did love doing like the hands-on work, the actual prototyping, talking to stakeholders, and like trying to figure out what do our clients want. But then there came a time where I felt too far removed from the problem. So one difficulty I found was like figuring out what are the problems. Like I feel like you have to shadow a doctor for like a whole month to figure out what problems are they having. Because you
Mm.
could ask them like, "What are your problems?" and they'll probably be like, I don't really know." Like,
All of them.
yeah, they'll probably give you some abstract answers because it's hard to think on the spot about like what are your problems. But when you're seeing someone do a surgery, like yesterday I shadowed urology, and the urologist I was shadowing was talking about how difficult the tool he was using was because of ergonomics. He had to hold your hand in a very specific position. And I don't know if
Mm.
that's something that he would have necessarily told me if I just had like tapped him on the shoulder outside of his work environment and been
Yeah.
like, hey, what are the problems that you're having in your workspace?
Mm.
So that was kind of like one of the reasons that I was like, what if I shifted into medicine and I was closer to the problems, but still had the research aspect? So, like, when I see a problem, I could put a team together of engineers, of other physicians, of other healthcare providers, of patients, especially, and see how we can use a more, I guess, empathetic approach to these things and like wanting to put patient and caregiver perspectives at the forefront. And so that's what kind of shifted me into healthcare. And I also wanted a longer relationship with my patients. Like I didn't want to just build something, hand it off, and then go on to the next project. Like I want to know, how is that thing doing? How can I improve upon it in the future? Like I wanted to be in these very specific problem spaces long term. And so I figured I could do engineering and continue down the like completely tech track, but I really wanted that like just working with people and working with subsets of populations that I really care about. So that's how I merged into medicine and still trying to incorporate tech into it as well.
Ooh, I feel like I should go into medicine now. Like I'm convinced. Like that's awesome, and that especially what you said about the longer relationship with the patient of
Mm-hmm.
not just going and solving a problem and then moving on, but getting that feedback of has this worked?
Yeah.
What else could you possibly improve with that? And have you had like an experience like that where you sort of felt that need of wait, this is why medicine?
Mm. A lot of I think a lot of the projects I was working on in biomedical engineering were like that. But like one project I really enjoyed working on was my team designed some basically incubators for babies. So if a baby is born earlier than they're supposed to be, you put
Mm.
them in an incubator to help kind of help their lungs develop, their brain develop, and all that. But in a lot of developing countries, these technologies don't exist.
Mm.
And so we were able to like work very closely with the team in Uganda and kind of understand what they needed in their space and not come in with like a savior complex, but rather we're learning from you and we're trying our best to like collaborate. And
Mm.
I really liked that kind of project. But then the project was over. And it was very much either, we could carry it on, but we all have classes and stuff. And had I been more so a physician in that role, I would have been able to kind of build a team and continue the project on. That's kind of like
Mm.
that's the missing piece that I had. I loved working on the project, but I was so sad when it was over and it was so difficult to keep it going because people are doing different things and have different life paths and maybe this isn't the project they want to continue working on. So like just those kinds of things, those kinds of projects where I was like, yes, this is what I want to be doing and I want to keep doing it.
It's so important what you said about the savior complex
Mhm.
of going back, I guess, Africa, going back to like a country in Africa, Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, Nigeria, and I'm actually going back home soon,
Oh, nice.
and so
Okay.
I'm excited. But I remember when I was telling a mentor, like, I'm like, hey, this is why I want to go back home. Super excited just to find a
Mhm.
way to help or support in some way. Like, there are a lot of cool technologies that we're building here in Canada, and like to be able to utilize that to be able to benefit underserved, underserved communities. And we had the conversation of him going, okay, but ensure that you're coming in with this sense of openness to learn also.
Mhm.
Not just I'm going to come in and fix and fix and fix
Yeah.
because I know what everything should be, but it's like, okay, what systems are already in place that are working, right? What systems are in place that are supporting these people? And how do you use the knowledge you have, that you're privileged to have, to then integrate and support rather than trying to change the whole system because you believe like yours is
Yeah.
better. And so that's very cool that you mentioned that. Um, wow. Okay, heavily inspired. I hope you guys are as well. And I guess now shifting the conversation more in terms of community, right? We've mentioned this a few times. What does community mean to you? And tell us a few of the communities that you're part of, why you're part of them, what makes you excited to keep coming back
Yeah.
and giving your time and energy towards them.
Yeah, community is super huge to me. I think like that's possibly the most important thing in my life is
Mm,
always having good support systems, always having community that you give back to that like gives to you so selflessly. And there's a few that I love being a part of. So one big one was the Cansbridge Fellows. So I was fortunate enough to be accepted into the Cansbridge Fellowship back in back in 2021, 22. And essentially what they are is like a group of just builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, like people who think very differently outside the box. And they're all so inspiring in their different ways. And my favorite part was like, this isn't just a bunch of people like in business or engineering, it's people in all different kinds of fields, like the arts, the languages, education, like people who eventually maybe decided to drop out before finishing, like people who've made these like big decisions to kind of see where the risk would take them and have fun with it. And
mm,
I was definitely able to come out of my box more when I joined the program. Like before, I think my the picture of success for me was like, okay, so you finish university, you get yourself a job, you know, you buy a house, you have a family, like very I guess yeah, very like standard. Everybody like hears about it when you're growing up. Like
true.
this is what success looks like.
That's the template.
Exactly. But then when I joined the Cansbridge community, I learned that success can look very different. Success can be
Mm,
dropping out to start your own business. Success can be starting your own family. Success can be, you know, getting clean after you've been struggling with certain substances. Like those are very, very big successes for people. And for me, suddenly it was maybe like testing the waters with something different. So like I hadn't necessarily thought I wanted like I thought yeah medicine would be cool, but like it's quite hard to get there, and there's so many
mm,
years of training, and there was always these like what ifs and these barriers kind of stopping me from fully committing before. But then I told myself, you know what if you just do it? You know, what if you just throw your hat in the race and see what comes out of that? And always having that mentality, like during my Cansbridge summer. So for the Cansbridge Fellowship, you go somewhere for your internship in the summer. I was very used to biomedical engineering, very used to software, but I was very unfamiliar with hardware
mm.
in that side of engineering. So I was like, let me take another risk here, like another big leap, and kind of try to sell myself to people like, yeah, I don't have much skills in the hardware space, but I'm a fast learner. I've got a good portfolio. Here's why I think I'd make a good fit for your team. Here's
Mm.
what I think I could learn from you. And it was a great opportunity to learn how to like be confident, be audacious, sell yourself, and like if you don't get the opportunity, at least you had like a good connection with someone and you take that as a learning experience.
So real. Like the being able to have a good connection with someone, even regardless of did I enjoy the opportunity or so on.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I've been searching as well when it comes to community, right? Like rather than and maybe jobs as well, rather than just what title is this on a resume? What does it
Hmm.
mean to the larger population? It's a lot more of what does it mean to me,
Yeah.
right? Am I meeting friends? And people, like you mentioned friends at the very beginning, but I think people underestimate how important friendships are, especially friends that
Hmm.
help you grow. Like the twins, we've had this conversation before, especially when we're thinking of like, who do we want to be? Where do we want to be? And why do we want to be? Right. And just having other men, especially in my life, like who think the same way, who are interested in the same things, who are excited about
Hmm.
the same things. Like those friendships are so important. And I've also had relationships in the past where it's like there's such a fantastic person, we just don't mesh well.
Yeah.
But I've still been able to learn so much from just being like a fly on the wall or listening to their thoughts or how they see the world or their perspectives
Yeah.
on like issues and things. And I feel like the world would do the world would be such a better place if more people just took the time to listen
Oh, definitely. Yep.
and just actually listen and take in what they heard, and then reflect and then respond. And I guess maybe for you, what was your favorite moment? I guess through your experience of being a fellow during your summer, like
Yeah.
what did you really walk away with of saying, like, wow, like this is my community?
Oh, another good question. I think um I think for me it was the fact that everyone was so willing to listen to you. Like you said, like everyone was
Mm,
always willing to give you feedback on any ideas that you pitched. Anyone was willing to like go for just grab a coffee and like walk around. I think I walked around campus for 2 hours with one of my Cansbridge fellow friends, and we were just talking about a whole bunch of nothing, but just enjoying each other's company and presence. And I also think it's the way that they think very differently. Like, it's just a community of people who don't tell you what you want to hear necessarily. Like, if
Mm.
something needs work, they'll not only tell you what they think about it, they'll put you in contact with people. They'll help you, like if you need help finding funding for something, they'll go to bat for you. Like, it's just this willingness to see you succeed, and it makes you want to see them succeed more, you know? So it's just building a network of, I guess, of future change makers. That was my favorite part, just always having, like, if I know that I can go to people in this fellowship if
Mm.
I ever need any kind of support in any space that I'm in. Like, even if they don't know the space, but they have like a buddy that they worked with who's like super big and renowned in a certain space, they'll never
Mm.
hesitate to connect you. So just this uplifting of each other is, yeah, the best part of being part of the fellowship.
I love that. Yeah, it sucks like when you're doing a podcast because I'm like, you gotta keep talking and keep the conversation going. But sometimes you say something, I just want to take a moment just to reflect and really let that sit in and be like, mm. And so like, thank you for sharing. Maybe I'll take 10 seconds.
Oh, for sure. I did also mention, sorry to break the silence,
There go my
but
10 seconds.
I did also like want to mention like a few other communities I'm a part of that
Mm.
like have really changed, I guess. I don't even know what part of me it's changed. It's just I felt like it's changed me as a person.
Mm.
When I got into med school, there was very recently like a Black student kind of initiative that was started
Yep.
to build more community within the Black space. And before joining med school, like I didn't know how much I lacked the Black community. Because growing up in
Mm.
BC, there's not a very strong Black community in Vancouver, or like in Metro Vancouver at least, or even I would imagine in different rural areas.
Mm.
So it was like I didn't know that I was lacking it though. Before I was like, yeah, I have friends, you know, they might not be Black, but I have amazing friends
People
from,
around me.
exactly. Like I'm surrounded by a lot of amazing people. But then I was like, it was just five of us in Vancouver, like five Black students. And
Mm.
like just the way that you're able to relate to them on a different level, you kind of start to understand what it means to have friends from different backgrounds or like same backgrounds as you,
Mm.
people who understand your upbringing, like different jokes that you make, the music that you listen to, the food that you eat, the culture. Like when I was like, guys, when I can't go out unless my parents tell me I can, I'm under their roof right now. Like I
Yep.
can't. And some of my other friends who aren't Black would be like you're
What?
an adult. Like
What do you mean? Go talk
exactly.
to your mom. Like we're
Yeah.
going out. I'm
Like
like,
you're literally an adult.
hey, hey,
Like
hey,
in this
happy
house.
household, you know?
Yeah. But then with my Black friends are like, yeah, no, we get it. You're yeah. So it's like something you don't even have to explain it. It's like unspoken things that like even like different even like not just from Cameroon where I'm from, but like different places in Africa, different places in the Caribbean. Like it's a
Mm.
very similar kind of culture. But there are differences that I'm still learning about all of our countries and all of our backgrounds, which I also love. So yeah, like UBC Medicine, thank you so much for taking the time to build this community of Black students. It's so beneficial to me.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that a lot of people misunderstand about diversity, right? Where they think it's only benefiting the group of people. And I guess you can make the claim of yes, we have individuals in this society, in our world, who want things to be benefiting everyone,
Hmm.
but they're almost looking at this thing. Diversity is almost like one image rather than it being multiple images flowing together. Because I
Hmm.
think where diversity starts playing a role is in your performance as a person, where because of you being able to find your community, you can better understand where other patients are coming from. You can
Yeah.
better understand how to serve those around you who might be different, not ways of like racial diversity, but even education diversity as well.
Hmm.
And other things like that that people don't always think about.
Yeah.
And now you get to be able to, like, you just become like a 10x sort of player
Yeah.
because of your personal experiences where you're like, wow, like this is what this means. And I feel like I've been in the same shoe where I didn't really always understand what diversity meant, just the word in general.
Yeah.
And then being at UBC, working at the Black student space, having these communities of Black people who look like me, who talk like me, we sing the same sort of songs, we have the same sort of vibes, the conversation, it's so uplifting,
Yeah.
right? Where you don't feel alone anymore. You realize genuinely like this is what community means.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, and in regards to that, then I have a follow up question, which would
Hmm.
be, who's one person that inspires you,
Hmm.
who like goes to bat for you, who supports you, who makes you feel the
Ooh.
sense of like love and energy?
Oh, I have to say my mom. 100% my mom. I love my dad. I love you,
Yeah.
dad.
Dad watching this like, wow.
But yeah, my mom, like, I have always been in awe of her, like,
Mm,
ever since I was a kid. Just the way that she carries herself. She's a natural leader. She's like such a strong speaker. She, fights for what's right, regardless of like what people might think or what people might say.
mm,
And that to me, growing up as a young black girl and becoming a woman, was like just something that was so amazing to look up to, and I think definitely developed who I am as a leader today, as like an innovator today. I could always talk to her about different issues that I was having. Like I remember as a kid, like the first time that I was like, whoa, my mom is like insane, was when I'd gone to school. It was like the first day of school at a new school in grade one. And then like I remember my parents were like, just be friendly to people, people will be friendly to you. I was like, yeah, cool, awesome, I can do that.
simple, yeah.
And so I there was a girl who was having like trouble opening a snack, and then I was like, hey, I can help. I was trying to be nice, and then she's like, no, ew, you're the color of poo. And I was like, oh, like I didn't know how to respond. Like you're six, you've never experienced racism before in your life.
Yeah.
And so I went home and I didn't know it was like such a bad thing. So I told my mom, and my mom was like fuming. She made sure that there was like a meeting
Mm,
between the different families and the teacher, and she made sure to like make sure like this wasn't overlooked or this wasn't like swept under the rug. And I remember like being like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize that my mom was like, she's so well spoken. Like she was obviously angry, but she didn't really let
mm.
that show. It came off as like passion and like protecting. And yeah, ever since then I was like, my mom is, she's my idol. She's my like number one. And I try to emulate her as much as I can throughout all the things that I do.
I can't even imagine the woman your mom is based off of just our interactions and seeing just the standard that you are and imagining like, wait, like there is a woman where you get that from. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. It's so unfortunate because when it comes to children, I genuinely believe like children have no hate in their heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like hatred is learned,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just unfortunate where first reaction and then now you have to think about like, wait, why is that first reaction and everything
Yeah.
like that. But sorry, I'm glad that your mom stepped in and she supported you and she
Yeah.
was actually like there to be your shield almost. And
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
I like the trust of knowing like, hey, it doesn't matter what happens, my mom's got me. Shout out to all the moms in the world.
Exactly.
It was not, it was a, we missed it a month ago, but it was International Women's Day.
It was, yeah.
So happy belated International Women's Day to everyone. But wow. And I guess one of the things you mentioned before was being a part of these communities helped you redefine what success meant,
Mm-hmm.
helped you even redefine what looking at success was. And so, what would you say for you if you, at the end of the day, after Coralie's story, we're nearing the end of the chapter, we've got
Yeah.
all these amazing chapters written before, and someone asks you, like, let's end it with success, your definition of what success was in your life, what would that sentence, word, paragraph be?
Okay. I think the very first thing would be like removing my sense of success from like academic achievement. I think like that's the biggest thing for me. So like nothing to do with school.
Mm,
The definition of success for me was very much academic achievement for most of my like elementary, high school, and like even most of my undergrad life. Like that was what success was, and that's a very easy way to burn out.
mm,
It's a very easy way to start kind of degrading yourself and being like, why aren't you doing better? Why aren't you the best at this or at that?
mm.
And starting to build competition where with people where it's not required at all.
Yeah.
And instead of like helping each other out, now there's like animosity. So I think like just removing that from my definition of success has helped me immensely. And then like redefining it in ways that I never would have before. So like I'm a very artistic person. I love film production, I love acting, I love writing. And so just being more in those spaces, like I recently did a movie with some folks in radiology, and just being able to merge like my passion for film but also then my interest in medicine together.
Mm.
Like we made a short film and I was able to act in that, and they gave me like such an amazing platform to just be silly and goofy and have a good time and do something that I love to do without having to sacrifice my career and my training as a healthcare professional. Was such an amazing time. And like
Mm.
for me, success would be like publishing my first novel. Like I'm trying to work on something
Okay,
there, and like
okay.
I think that would be the most proud of myself that I would be to be like, yes, you did this. Like you sat down, you wrote it. You didn't you didn't box yourself into just being a doctor, like just being a writer, but you allowed those things
Mm,
to kind of merge together. So yeah, just taking things off my personal bucket list that have just been on there forever, and like maintaining friendships. I think I have a handful of friendships that have lasted quite a long time, and I'm also really proud of that. And I think that's a really big success. Like even sometimes I'd gone through like a 2 to 3 year kind of hiatus from speaking to people just because of like their life, my life, things are happening.
everyone's, yep, yep.
But then taking the step to kind of be like, hey, do you want to grab coffee, and reinitiating that relationship and
Mm,
maintaining it, I think that's another big part of success for me. And then the last part would just be like being able to serve my patients when I become a doctor and do the best that I can for them, whether that's involving technology or even just being able to be the person that they talk to and come to on their worst day of their life and having a good experience.
mm.
That's also like another big thing that would be success for me.
So many standards of like this. I genuinely feel like the youth need to like. I'm youth. I'm inspired. Like genuinely look at you as a role model
Oh, thank
of
you.
when I'm thinking about life and what things am I focused on. This is sort of the message, right? Like this is what I should be gunning for, not just achievement in terms of academics or
Mm-hmm.
wealth or
Yeah.
success, but rather more so achievement in terms of who I'm trying to become. And I guess quick question, and then we'll wrap up. But what's your book going to be about?
Oh, okay. I got a couple of stories, brewing. But like I mentioned before, I'm a fiction girly, so it's definitely going to be fiction.
Okay.
I'm working on kind of like an action slash coming of age book. Um, without giving away too many details, because I don't even know what's happening in the book.
Okay. Perfect.
It's essentially about kind of like a retired assassin
Mm,
who's who's having to grapple with some things and raising a kid, and like just there's a lot of different themes in there. I like where it's going so far, but we'll
yeah.
see. I If I ever do release it, I'll let you know.
Please, we'll put it on the podcast. We'll let people know.
Lovely.
And so something new. We mentioned this is like the new thing, but one thing, other new thing that we tried with our last guest, Kiki, was what's one inspirational message that you want to leave for the next guest that we have on
Mm.
our podcast. And so one of the things she said was think about a moment where you didn't want to push through, you almost gave up, like, and then you ask yourself, but what if?
Mm.
But what if I go the extra length? What if I push myself a little bit further? What if I strive for more? Think
Mm-hmm.
about that moment, and maybe share what that moment was for you.
Oh, okay. Okay. This is also I have to take some time to
I
think
know,
about this
please,
one.
yes, because it was great. Like this, such a heavy question, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember like my what if just being in terms of like life in general, where I feel
Yeah.
like I have a ton of what if moments, but I let them just be what ifs rather than
Mm-hmm.
this is what I then did. And so I think that was just like her inspirational message that she wanted to leave. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I wanna make this good.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna think about it for a little while.
Okay. In the meantime, I'll just chat with the audience here. But yeah, guys, Toby is one of the coolest places at UBC. Personally, I've been going on walks recently after finals have been done. Yes, and just really spending the time to be in nature, especially being in Vancouver. Right, it's absolutely gorgeous here. I think one of the reasons I moved to BC actually was because I wanted this experience with being closer with nature and everything. But sidetrack, yeah.
I guess for me, one of the big, I guess, what ifs that I initially didn't want to push through on, but then did. I feel like there's a lot. I feel like but I pushed through on all of them.
So that's the message, guys. Just think of what if and be like, okay, next what if, push through.
Like it's a very simple one, but one that I remember was when I was applying to a scholarship, and it was 2 hours before the deadline. I'd written all the essays except for one. There was like a 500-word essay, and then I was essentially I had given up, and so I called my mom. I was like, Mom, like I know I have all the references and I know I have all the essays, but like there's this one essay that I haven't done. It's so long. She's like, just do it. Like just grab some stuff from other essays you've written, put it
Mm,
together, submit it, and we'll see. And then I ended up winning. And I was like, and that's like one time where I almost did genuinely give up. Like it seems like such a small thing, but just again, having my mom in my court is the biggest thing. Like she's just like, what are you talking about? Like you have 2 hours. You can put something together, even if it's not good. They can be the judge of that and keep it
Mm,
pushing.
I I love that they can be the judge of that.
Yeah.
Never self-select yourself out
Yeah.
of an opportunity. Wow. And shout out to your mom again. Like
Yeah.
that's just so magical. The fact that she was able to I feel like just so simple. Sometimes we overflow, like we over proportionate or over proportion, over the word. I mean, yes. So we do that to like our problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, we look back and we're like, wait, I just had to keep on pushing.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, same thing Kiki did for you. As we wrap this up, what is one inspirational message that you want to leave behind for the next guest that we have on the show?
Mm. I guess an inspirational message I want to leave behind. Does that be a question?
Question, answer, something you want to.
Okay.
It's up
Okay.
to you. You tell
Gotcha.
us.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I think my message that I always give to everyone is to be as audacious as you possibly can be. I think that just having spoken to a lot of my friends, particularly in the Black and African community, we're told to be very like rule following and like toe the line, like you know, don't try to be standing out too much.
Mm.
But like I think sometimes you just have to ask for something that is complete that you're like, what an audacious thing to ask for. But like just ask for it. And if they say no, that's cool. That's fine. We keep going. But then if they say yes, that might be like a door that's open, an opportunity that we have. And like, yeah, just finding different ways to reach your definition of success or help people out by being a little bit more audacious.
What an inspirational message to share. And I hope all of you that are watching as well take this with heart and take this with you wherever you go. Be audacious, be delusional, be optimistic, and
Exactly.
chase chase what moves your heart. Chase what wakes you up in the middle of the night that makes you excited about life, and be audacious. And Coralie, thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for watching. And this is something inspirational with Coralie.
Thank you. Thank you. See you all.